What is up, guys? I wanted to make a video on the biggest lessons I learned from basically going from zero to over $50,000 in 1 month. Just moved into my new penthouse, got to get some furniture, still kind of unpacking, but wanted to make a video in honor of, I guess, moving to this penthouse and hitting my first $50,000 month last year. These are the biggest lessons I've learned from making money online, and yeah, let's jump right into it. All right, so the first lesson of making money online is that money is everywhere. So an analogy I like to use is thinking of money as an ocean, right? Or like water, right? So there's oceans, there's, out of these giant pools of money, these oceans, there's, rivers and seas, and, there's lakes and little bodies of water everywhere. There's, rain that comes down, right? So money is everywhere. And all you need to do is to figure out a way to tap into these streams or these flows of water or money. So as an example, in my course, Blog Money Blueprint, there's a reason why the first thing I say in the very first introductory module is that your biggest enemy isn't that you won't know how to make money, it's that you won't stick with it. You'll get something called shiny object syndrome, where you'll jump around from one thing to the next, when in reality, you can make money using any method, from blogging to drop shipping to this to that. It doesn't matter, okay? Money is everywhere, and you can literally make money doing almost anything, right? Look at this pen. Think of how many people were involved in making this pen and getting it to me. So first, someone had to make the raw materials or extract them from the earth, right? Like the plastic, the metal, right? Then they sold these raw materials to a factory, which then turned the raw materials into a pen. Factory sold the pens in bulk to a wholesaler. Wholesaler probably sold them to, an individual, and then the individual sold them through Amazon to get to me, right? So literally just for a, $1 pen, money had to pass through like 4 or 5 different hands, right? 4 or 5 different companies, different people, whatever. So money is literally everywhere, and all you need to do is figure out how to tap into it. Number 2. Speed of implementation. This is a really important concept that no one seems to get. So a lot of the time I'll talk to these people that, they'll tell me they have an idea, right, for their blog or for, some online thing. And like a month or two will pass, or a year, and then I'll try to check in on them and say, hey, did you ever do that thing? And they're like, oh no, I'm still working on it, right? And it's like, dude, if you want to make money online, you need to shorten the time from when you have an idea to when you implement it, right? That's called speed of implementation. So the people that are really good at making money fast, whether it's online or in person or whatever, they have an idea and they implement it that day, or at least they start, right? Because some ideas take time to implement, but don't be one of these idiots that says, oh, I'm gonna start a drop shipping company. And then like 3 years go by and you're like, oh, I'm still watching YouTube videos and learning, right? I bet that sounds familiar, right? Because we've all done that. But the point is that you want to have a high level of speed of implementation if you want to make money online. Number 3, persistence and time are key, okay? Persistence and time. So the biggest problem that people face when they first get into this, whole making money thing is they'll try something for like 2 or 3 months and then they'll just go on to the next thing, right? So maybe they'll get a course on blogging, right? Maybe they'll get like my course on blogging. They'll try it for 2 or 3 months and, they're like, oh, I'm not making 10 grand a month yet. This is a scam. And so they'll, see an ad for something about, drop shipping, right? And they'll say, oh, let me try that, right? They'll try that for 2 or 3 months. Maybe they'll make like $1,000 or something. And then they'll be like, oh, that's a scam, right? Maybe I need to do Twitter advertising now, right? They'll get into Twitter and the whole Gumroad ebooks thing on Twitter, right? But whatever it is, the point is that you're not going to become successful at anything if you fucking jump around like that. You got to stick with one thing and just really get good at it, okay? With blogging, it took me probably 4 to 5 years. I hit my first $50,000 month last year, but that took 4 to 5 years of building up to that. And I'm not saying that, you couldn't do it faster if maybe you were, better at certain things than I am or whatever, but it's going to take time. Like you're not going to have your first, 10K month in, a few months or something. It's going to take time. Okay. Number 4 is double down on your strengths. This is really key. Too many people talk about shoring up their weaknesses and don't double down on their strengths, right? So in life, there's these things called asymmetric returns. And what that means is that say that you have 100 units of energy, right? Or, maybe you have, I don't know, 100 hours of time to work for something, or towards something in a week, right? 100 units of energy, 100 hours, whatever it is. So if you put those 100 units into hustle number one, maybe you'll get 100 units back, right? But then if you find a hustle that you're better at, or a skill that you're better at, or whatever it is, and you put 100 units into that, maybe you'll get 500 back, right? So the whole point of entrepreneurship and scaling really is to find those high leverage points where there's asymmetric returns. People are fucking texting me, one sec. So it's all about the asymmetric returns. Okay, let me give you an example. At one point, I was probably promoting, 20 or 30 different affiliate companies that were, sending me revenue and money on my blogs, my websites that I own. And eventually I kind of realized a few years ago, I was making like 70 to 80% of my income from just one or two of these companies, right? So what did I do, right? Did I, say, oh, let me sign up for these new companies over here and then try more new shit and get, shiny object syndrome? No. I said, why don't I just put all my efforts on these companies that are giving me the vast majority of my income, right? And then it doubled. It went from, 7K to almost 15K. And then, 15K to 30K, right? And recently I had my best month, it was $66,000, right? And the way you get to that level is by doubling down on what's working. If you have an email campaign that's doing really well, or if you're, doing drop shipping or something and you have one product that's the best seller, well, optimize the shit out of it. Do upsells for the product, cross sells, side sells, right? Double down on the marketing, the SEO, the advertising, whatever it is. Double down on what's working. Don't, try to improve the shit that's not working. Because if you have shit that's already working, that is bringing in money, if you just double down on that, then you'll get better results, and it's these asymmetric returns, right? Number 5, what motivates you will change. Now, most of you guys probably aren't at this point yet, but once you get to the point where you're financially independent and very comfortable, you're gonna find that money doesn't motivate you as much as it used to. So over the summer, my income increased quite rapidly. It went from probably, 20, 30K a month to, like I said, started hitting 40, 50, 60K over the past year or so. And I found that I wasn't as motivated by money. I mean, I'm still money motivated. I want to, obviously, I want to have a giant mansion in the hills and, 20 Lambos and a Rolls Royce and whatever, private jet. But you'll find that it's not as motivating, right? Because when you're already making a lot of money and passive income, part of you is just like, I could kind of fuck off and just play video games today, or fuck off and go on Tinder and try to get laid or whatever. So what motivates you is going to change, okay? I have found personally that it's kind of like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, right? If you've ever seen that, where at first it's money and status and things like that, but then eventually it's going to become more about doing the best work that you can and being proud of the work that you're doing, right? So like, for example, if I have a client, and I double or triple their revenue, that to me is more motivating, than the money that I would get from them for doing that, right, per se. So another thing that might change is, you'll be more motivated to actually just enjoy the process, right? Like, I know for a fact that I'm probably not gonna make that much money from this YouTube video. I might get like a sale or two or something, but the majority of my money is made through my clients, right? So regardless, I'm still recording this YouTube video. Why? Because it's fun and it's motivating to me. It's motivating to help people, to teach people, that type of thing. So what motivates you will change. At first, it's going to be money primarily, money, status. You might get caught up in your ego, right? You might, like I did over the summer, I kind of spent all this money on partying and let my ego kind of get the better of me. But eventually you're going to learn, okay, money, status, all that different shit, the ego stuff, that's cool. And it can kind of get you to, a good level. But beyond that, there's different things that will motivate you, like leaving a legacy or changing the world or making an impact or, changing people's lives or whatever it is. Okay. Number 6, and this is actually a huge one. Uncouple your time from your money. Most people work an hourly job or, they'll do some sort of consulting, even if they're, working online, where they'll get paid $100 an hour or, $50 an hour or whatever. Well, let me explain something to you. I charge $1,000 an hour for consultations And I almost never do them or accept them, right? Like maybe, if someone asks me, hey, John, can I get a consultation? I have a website, I'm trying to grow it. I'll just give them some free advice, right? But I usually don't do consultations, even though it's $1,000 an hour, because I don't like to tie my time to my money, right? Instead, what you need to learn how to do, when I talk in depth about how to do this in my course, Blog Money Blueprint, link is in the description, is you need to learn how to build a system that makes money for you while you sleep. Because as Warren Buffett said, if you don't find a way to make money while you sleep, you'll work until you die. So I can literally fuck off and go to Japan for 6 months and I'll keep raking in passive income. So it's about uncoupling your time from your money, because then you start to put your time into building these systems that you can scale exponentially, and your time is no longer the limiting factor in how much you can make, right? If you've got an hourly job, even if you're getting paid $1,000 an hour, to do consulting or whatever, you still can only work, 10 to 16 hours a day, right? Like there's a limit. There's a huge limit, right? So the way that you get rich and have freedom and time, which is, really what you want, right? Because who wants to be rich and have no time, right? Is to uncouple your time from your money. And the way you do that is to build systems. Number 7 is to do the numbers. It never ceases to amaze me how little people know about the critical key numbers in their business, right? So right off the top of your head, you should be able to just rattle off, your revenues, your profits. You should have your numbers down to such a specific point that it literally seems autistic to anyone that isn't into business. So as an example, there was a point where I was really working on my website, Masculine Development, and I literally had it down to the point where I could tell on average exactly how much money I was making per reader for specific articles. So for example, I have maybe an article on like taking cold showers or something, right? I literally built a system to say, okay, on average, I get, 5 cents for every person that reads this article, right? Because maybe out of 100, a couple will end up, going from the article to an ebook, buying the ebook, and it'll work out to, 5 cents per person on average, or whatever it is, right? And then what I did from there was I sorted all my articles based on which ones will provide the highest revenue. And, so it's like, okay, if I get, $5 per reader on this article and 5 cents per reader on this article, which one do you think I'm going to promote? Which one do you think I'm going to optimize, do SEO for, advertise for, post on Twitter, etc.? The one that makes the most money, right? So this is why doing the numbers is so key. You should know your conversion rates. You should know your earnings per click. You should know, your traffic, your revenue, your profit, obviously, right? The big ones, right? Traffic, revenue, profit. But you should know, especially conversion rates. You should know all these different details inside and out of your business, because once you can quantify things, you can scale them and grow them. As an example, like I said, I've been doing consulting lately, and for one company, they have a conversion rate of maybe 2%, right? And I know right off the bat, 2% is not a good conversion rate. So, if I know that their traffic is good, this is good, that's good, I, chart out their sales funnel, and I can see, oh, okay, they're only converting 2% of the people that see their product, then I know what to focus on, right? So doing the numbers helps you find the highest leverage points based on actual math, metrics, and, numbers, right? It's not just guesswork. And that's the biggest problem that I see people having is, they'll say, oh, I'm going to, put money into advertising, or I'm going to, try to do this thing or that thing. And they don't realize, like, you're kind of just throwing money into thin air if you don't know exactly what numbers you're going to get back, right? So quantify everything, do the numbers, okay? Number 8 is most people don't have what it takes. And this is kind of a sad reality, but most people will talk all day long about, starting a business or this or that. It really amazes me sometimes, or I guess it never ceases to amaze me, how much people are full of shit. The amount of people that I've spoken with, over the summer when I was out, meeting people very often at bars and whatnot, that would tell me, oh yeah, I'm a business owner, I'm a business owner, I have a business or whatever, I'm an entrepreneur, right? And they have like a fucking Shopify store with like Teespring shirts that does like, like $10 a month in sales, right? And it's like, bitch, you are not a fucking entrepreneur if all you do is set up a goddamn website. That's not a fucking entrepreneur, right? So most people are delusional. They think that they'll just like, set up a website or like, a Shopify store or an Amazon store and, oh, they're an entrepreneur now. No, you're not. In order to actually be an entrepreneur, you have to put in the hustle, the work, etc. And most people just are not willing to do that. Most people are gonna live and die in their 9-to-5 jobs, and that fucking sucks. And I don't wanna do that. And if you don't, then I highly recommend you subscribe to my channel and check out the links in the description for how to make money. There's some free articles, free advice. Anyways, if you guys enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments section down below. That helps boost the algorithm. If you have any questions, let me know as well. I'll try to answer those when I get a chance. Still got lots of moving in to do. Maybe I'll give you a quick tour here real quick. This is the office, still obviously kind of moving in. But anyways, yeah, guys, hope you enjoyed the video. I will see you next time. Please subscribe, share this with someone who needs to hear it, and we will talk soon.